Yay, yay, hello, and welcome to this week Training Tuesday Live. Today, we're talking all about likes and likes going away, the rumors, the truth, what it is, what we're hearing, and most importantly, what we can do about it as marketers and brands for the future of digital if this trend continues. So before we dive into today's topic, one, I would like to ask you a question. What do you think about this? Have you heard the buzz? What do you think? Drop it in the comments here. I would love to get your feedback and make this super engaging on what you think about this and the implications that it has on your brand. But if we've not met before, hello. My name is Jessica Phillips with Now Marketing Group and the Relationship Marketing System. My awesome co-host, he's Mike Gingrich. He is the president of Digital Hill, the co-founder of the popular apps Woftio, Tabsite, and published author extraordinaire. How's it going, Mike? Happy Tuesday.
Hey, happy Tuesday to you as well. Doing well, and this is a timely topic. This is a kind of a hot button. I just had some questions on this from clients already, so I think it's a great addition to talk about today and get the audience's input and give them some of the. I think there's some misconceptions and things like that too. So I think it's just timely to cover it.
Yeah. And hello, Tracy. Thank you for joining in with us today. Good to see you here. If you are joining in, watching with us today, let us know that you are with us and where you're tuning in from, as well as letting us know what you think about this topic. Likes being removed from Facebook and what that looks like for the future of digital and marketing in general for both brands, marketers, all the same. We want to dive into, as Mike said, what some of the misconceptions are, what the truth is, and what everybody's saying about it. So this article came out about 5 days ago, was the first article that I've seen on this and some rumors. And then I've seen several since then. A really great article by our good friend of the show of Social Media Week Lima, Now Marketing Group, and just the digital space all around, and a great blogger, Mike Alton. He actually published a piece that I was sent today, and I was trying to get him on the show. I was like, oh my God, this is brilliant. So I'd like to read a little bit of what he said about this as well. But first ask you, Mike, when did you hear this? How did you find out? What were your initial thoughts?
Yeah. So obviously the Instagram one's been out there for a little while. But basically I had a client call me in a panic, and that's how I learned about the Facebook one.
Yeah.
And they're like, oh, they're going to take this away. What does it mean? So basically what happened there was there were a number of misconceptions then. So number one, this is not taking away the number of fans that you have on a Facebook page and show you them. So they thought that was going away. So they thought, equivalent likes or that type
You were
of thing.
thinking like as in liking the page, not
yes, the
yeah,
page.
that's good clarification.
Okay, so that was the clarification number one. And then number two was they thought that meant for them, they're never going to know any type of engagement metrics. Okay, because they thought likes are gone, that's it. And I was like, no, that's for the public. So the public can't see that. So the mental health aspect on that kind of piece is one of those issues. So I, kind of talking through that with them, a fan coming to the page, seeing a post is not going to be able to see there's, 57 likes on that kind of thing. However, you're still going to have insights in the back end, which is telling you information about your content, how engaging it is, and that type of thing. So how people did engage with it, their reactions to that, their shares, their comments, those types of pieces. So basically, the Facebook one I was tossed into through client uproar.
Yeah. And those are valid concerns. So what was published was that Facebook likes are going away, going as in not completely happened yet. They're testing this in 9 countries. And as Mike mentioned, Instagram already started doing this in June of this past year. LinkedIn did it, did some tests with removing how likes are displaying on content sharing on blogs of public facing and what that looks like. And even far back as Google Plus, when that was still around, started doing this in 2005. So liking as in the post public view is what is the concern of it going away. So if you're sharing a post, as Mike mentioned, that you would not necessarily see, or fans, like if I've liked Mike's page and I'm going to Mike's page and I would not necessarily see how many likes each post received. And here's the big issue with this. And I think the way of kind of summarizing why people are panicking is that likes have been this false sense of currency for brands overall. Like it's just a false sense of currency. They think likes in general deem that their content is great and that their brand is great, growing in momentum, and they've just had this false sense of currency associated with the like. Now, granted, it does give you some insight to know, okay, somebody is seeing this one and they're engaging with it. However, what does that mean at the end of the day? So I want to grab like a couple just snippets of what Mike Allton shared, and I'm going to put this amazing blog notes here for others to grab, because he really summarizes a lot of what we're talking about. He said that there's, before there was no share count on specific pieces of content when you were doing this on your blog. Now you're going to remember he's thinking as a blogger. What does this mean for the content I'm publishing outside of Facebook? How do I know if that's performing, right? Not just the things that I'm sharing on Facebook, but how do I know, outside of Facebook, what kinds of content to keep sharing? And, he's saying on here that you still are, as you mentioned, Mike, able to see engagement as the admin on who's performing it, as well as it's been shared on Facebook, that the rumors are you may be able to see at least a couple of your friends that have engaged with it, but just not all the likes. But as for an admin, if it works the same way Instagram is, you wouldn't see it on the actual post. You as the admin of that page or the manager of that page would have to go to a see more section to see who all engaged with it. So public facing, it's taking away those vanity metrics on the post overall. So
yes, and that applies as Mike said. I thought I really hadn't looked at it too much from the angle of the blog post, because I've not used the social media sharing buttons with the counts on my blog for some time. I mean, it's been quite a while. But he was making the point that you take, for instance, there's been a social media, like you have a blog post and you have the buttons where people can share it, and then there was the like count. Like social warfare was a good one that's like used like that, and so you might have been able to see, there was 35 times it was shared on Facebook, or those types of pieces there, Twitter, that type of thing. So he was noting how that's going away. So there was
went away on several of them
already previously. Yes. So and that's why I had taken it away completely on mine to begin with, because it was weird to have some that did, some that didn't, kind of thing. It didn't make sense, and his point was that that was kind of a social proof factor, that type of thing. If somebody saw high numbers, again, there's that social aspect to it that, with psychology that played with it. If there's been 300 shares on this, it must be good. I must share this too, the kind of thing.
Yeah. And third-party tools actually aggregated that information and helped you curate content for your pages based upon how many likes and shares other pieces of content received on other pages. So that is a legitimate concern. However, to Mike's point in the article, he says he thought, and this is, his take on it, that many had removed that because they didn't want the comparison between the highly engaged shared Facebook numbers against like a LinkedIn or, a Google Plus kind of number where people are like, oh, I guess I'll just share it on Facebook because it'll perform more. It was that kind of false sense again of security. And that really gets into the why, right? So the why overall. And I love that, when Instagram shared about this first, when they decided to do this, they said, we want your friends to focus on the photos and the videos you share, not how many likes they get. You can still see your own likes by tapping on the list of people who liked it, but your friends will not be able to see how many likes your post has received. So this is Instagram saying, this is what we want people to focus on, the actual content, not who else has engaged with it. So they rolled this out, testing it to Australia, Brazil, Canada, Ireland, Italy, Japan, and New Zealand, starting out. And this was announced in June, and people reacted to this. I don't know if you've seen some of the comments, Mike, but this is other people's take on it. Again, we want you to hear your take on what you think about this as a whole. Like it, for it, against it, what kinds of implications do you think it's going to have overall on just social media and business in general? But people definitely reacted both positively and negative to this, but a big majority of them not being happy with it when it first rolled out.
Yeah. Well, I can tell you my teenagers will not be happy, and so in that teen culture, that's a badge, so to speak.
Yeah.
There. So
exactly.
I know
and that's
that
what some people said on here.
Yeah.
They said, so one comment on this article was, what about the people using it for income? The people who work hard creating content to then have their hard work not praised or not shown how successful it was to others. Instead, the app runs the quality and doesn't show posts to 90% of followers. That's what one person said. And another comment that I really liked, though, on here, it was a couple of them, but one was, this is on the flip side of it, brands really should be about only playing to have content that is generating relationships. And if you haven't already started doing that already, good luck. So that was one comment on there. There was tons of negative. I'll share this article as well. But the other one made a very, very, very valid point in that influencers, okay?
Yeah.
Influencers. And that was where my brain first went. Of course, I'll share my take on this at the end and my opinions on it. I think people that know me can probably guess how I feel about this anyway, but influencers make their money and their revenue by saying, here's the post I share and here's how many likes they get. And, that's all they're sharing with companies is my average post likes are X amount. So for influencers, this runs a huge income kind of scare, I'm sure, to them, because now they're going to have to rely on what is the ROI that I generated, or what was the comments, the overall engagement. And they're really going to have to start putting together more, media kits that display their well-rounded approach versus just go check out my profile and see how many likes it gets. And one of the things I like about this is because it is so easy to get into one of these like for like kind of engagement groups and create all these, fake accounts and all this stuff. I mean, we had Zach Benson on here talking about what his company does on Instagram and how that kind of, changed the game, but brands bought into it, right? When he was talking on the show, and this was several episodes ago last year, but he had said that when his company had worked with a client on Instagram, that he would put them into this pool of others like them, other companies like them. And really, as soon as anything published, all of their team would go kind of like that post to start generating real momentum. It did have momentum because it started getting into the For You kind of section, right? And it started trending a little bit because of that engagement, because of all those likes and things that were happening. But it was a systematic way of kind of rigging the system. And now you really have to look at the comments, the engagement, and people are going to have to take a look at the influencers before they hire them and say, is this someone I could really see representing my brand for something that's going to generate an actual return outside of the vanity, likes that are that false currency?
Yeah. So definitely changes that metric, which had the potential to be gamed, as we're saying, like that. And I think that's important to note. I want to catch up Sheila here again. So Sheila, thank you. How do you take the counts off? So what we're talking about is the platforms themselves potentially doing this across the board, so that not an individual brand decision, not an individual page, or account decision that you can make. This is Instagram has rolled out the experiment in multiple countries, and now Facebook is saying they're going to look at this
Mhm.
and potentially take it off. So we won't, if they go through with this, we won't have a choice. It's just going to be gone and removed.
That's a great question, Sheila, because many people are asking the same thing. Could we make this optional or not? And that's when Instagram replied in that article as well there and said, no, this is something that is going to be kind of across the board. And there's reasons why. I mean, Mike, you headed to this a few minutes ago when you were talking about mental health. And that was a big stance that parent owned, Instagram owned by Facebook, parent company, said that there's a big mental health aspect to this. And I think that's why they first start out with Instagram with, some of that demographic there, that they've seen that statistically in just mental health capacity overall, one, if someone sees that a post had been liked several times, that they're automatically going to like it. They're going to be more inclined to like it, I should say, because it already has likes. But on the flip side of that, if you are as an individual are sharing a moment and it's not getting as many likes, that is leading to forms of depression, anxiety, and just not feeling like you're measuring up. So they're seeing people not only having mental health issues with this, but also that they're taking the content down. They're not keeping it up because it hasn't received likes within a certain time period, as well as they start sharing less.
Yeah. So, I mean, that's the definite danger side that they need to look at. I mean, there's going to be no social media platform that wants to be able to be tracked back to say, they were responsible for, someone falling into a deep depression and that type of thing. I mean, that's a negative side. That's a horrible side that could, so them taking a look at this, I think, is valuable. I mean, and bottom line is, from a marketer's perspective, I mean, that's I don't want to get there too fast because I know we want to move there, but things change all the time. You need to adapt to them, and this is just another potential case of this. Again, hasn't been officially rolled out, folks, or anything like that, but it's kind of they're talking about it, so we're talking about it with you so that you're aware of these pieces.
And the mental health piece of it, as you said, and as we've talked about, I just want to say, as a mother of preteens, I'm already seeing this. They're using, TikTok. That's the only one I've allowed them on so far. But they're always fighting for, the clout of who's made it to this For You kind of page where it's featured, right? And how many likes and things that they're receiving. And so it is a playoff, kind of a self-worth kind of component for a personal side, as well as I could even see this for a brand side. When you're starting out, or, you're comparing yourself against others, you're kind of measuring up how they're performing versus how you're performing. And it can be a good thing too, to kind of boost up and say, yeah, my content's making an impact. I'm getting these likes. But there's going to be other ways of measuring it. I want to go back to one other comment that I've seen, and hopefully I can find it here again, on the Instagram when this first rolled out. And I love what she said. She said, likes have officially dropped off my Instagram, and surprisingly, I really love it. I already feel like I'm not looking for how many people have engaged, and I'm just paying attention to what's written and being posted. And she goes on and talking about how she feels like she's more confident to kind of just show up authentically now and not have to have that kind of pressure, which I think for brands, that's the light bulb moment, right? Like, what if you had that kind of pressure taken off you and it was simply the comments and showing up authentically? If you've listened to any of the shows that we've done for the past 5 years, that's one thing that we really have been preaching and talking about, is not counting likes, count conversations, not likes. That is something I say in every presentation, because the conversations are what's going to generate the relationship. That's the piece that's social. And if you do show up authentically and not have to worry about that, you are going to be focused on, as she said, what's being said and seen versus the number. So we're not going to see as many, hopefully, people that are just throwing up, I'll just tease Jay Shetty for a minute. Jay Shetty quotes, because he quotes them all out there, and actually showing up and saying something that is truly you and about the brand, and getting those conversations started.
Yep. Okay. I think that, it was, likes are the smallest factor really in the true impact of a piece of content. When you take a look at that, let's just take a look at Facebook. I mean, so there's a reaction and the count on that reaction. So you'll still be able to see that, there was love given to it or something like that. Just not that there's 20 love, but comments, shares. I mean, those are pieces like that are truly a factor. Someone, it's a small thing to click a like. It's a more substantial thing for someone to say, this is worthy enough that I'm going to share it on my own feed, my own page, or that I'm going to comment and engage with this.
And that's what I like as well with this, is because I feel now granted, you're still going to know who's reacting. I do think that there is some weight in that. However, I think it's going to force brands and marketers to now look at what is the real weight that we're measuring. We talked earlier about dark social several episodes ago, on where a lot of the conversation, the sharing, and the interaction on post, we actually don't even know about, because Mark Zuckerberg said in the F8 announcement about where the future of digital is going, and he said the future is private. What he means by that is that a lot of these conversations, whether they're with the brand directly as a comment or not, a majority of them are actually going to be happening in one-off messenger groups or Facebook groups or an email or in text. So the true weight of what we need to look at as marketers and brands overall is, what are we measuring in the first place? If we're getting rid of this fake currency of likes, and if this does happen as a thing, in which the verdict's still out, but if this does happen as a thing, what is the real true impact that we're trying to measure? And that's where we say relationship marketing, right? It comes into play, where it's, okay, are we measuring, the email signups? Are we measuring, the impact of our brand being mentioned online that we can track? Are we measuring the word of mouth referrals coming in, or the reduced churn because we have built a relationship, the collaboration with others, those kinds of pieces that are much greater in weight as it relates to the ROI of actually doing social than a like.
Yes. Because with what Mike Alton went back to, and he was talking about, taking away the counts on the buttons, that type of piece there as a factor for, social proof on a blog post. Okay. So, but again, it comes back to a metric of Google Analytics, how many times was that page viewed, that type of piece there. And I think it comes back to a point that you and I have said over and over again, and that is that, social media is rented land. It's changing. It can go away. And your website is your home, where you can control that. And so, being able to see that this web page is performing well, being able to see that over time your website has more traffic month over month than it did before. These are key things that are telling you about, a true metric is your website content connecting, and then again, what are you doing on your website to move people into a place where they can connect with you further? So getting them on that email list, where then you can have that further conversation with them, those types of pieces. So some things aren't new under the sun that we've talked about before.
Absolutely. And that comes to exactly what you said, what to do about it. So we talked about the reasons why they're saying this, right? It is, they've social, as soon as it became a thing and likes became this currency, you had people trying to fake and rig the system. And now we've had some mental health aspects to it that have been addressed that that are concerned, as well as just having people focus on the quality of the content. That's all the what and the why. And then how to prepare for the future is just what you said. Focus on your home base, one, the website, and the things that you can measure. What is your true plan with using social? Do I think social is going to go away? No. Do I think it's going to look a whole heck of a lot different next year and the year after and the year after that? Absolutely. Because one, people don't want to be interrupted. And as soon as marketers get a hold of anything, they try to ruin it. And so people are going to find a way of still staying in communication and in community without the interruption of trying to be sold to. So you need to look at social with a holistic approach of how am I using this to just nurture relationships and add value? And your social content, kind of going to the theme of Social Media Week Lima this past year, needs to take this craveable approach. What is going to keep people coming back wanting more of your content? And it goes into the stories that you're sharing and the value that you're adding and the personality that you're really bringing to the table that people are going to want to come back and actually seek out your content versus just stumbling across it and potentially seeing some likes and then taking action on it. So having a full, well-rounded strategy on your social that is focused on more than just getting the like anyway.
Yes, absolutely. That's the crux there is how are all the parts working together, and do you have a bigger picture, a bigger plan in that regard there? So yeah, definitely. I mean, it's a timely topic. It's a hot button type topic. But if you're doing it what I call well, it's not going to impact you because you're not going to be that to some degree we've shown it's been proven and the vanity metric and even a mental health issue.
Yeah. And I'll be so glad when I can see the posts go away that are like this for that or whatever that you're not supposed to be doing anyway.
There you go. Yes. The ones that violate Facebook's terms of yes.
Yeah. But I do appreciate the reaction. So that's why I said I have mixed feelings. I think more on a personal basis. So, I do appreciate and like the likes, as mentioned, it does give a sense of, it's like gamifying, like anything else. When you get that like, it's like it feeds this kind of dopamine in you, right? Regardless of whether you're trying to focus on that or not. So that's the reality of it. As you mentioned, and all the articles mentioned, one thing's for sure when it comes to digital is that it's going to change and it's going to continue to change. And we just have to adapt to it. So it's really starting now and thinking about what does this look like for you if they were gone tomorrow? What are you going to be measuring? How are you going to improve your plan overall so you do go into 2020 and beyond with a solid approach of tracking the impact of your social media other than just how many likes something has received overall? And hey, Tim, good to see you on here. Hey, Cal, good to see you on here. Yeah, you can give likes on this. Let's like it up until they go away. That's a good point. I wonder how that will show up on live video. So many unanswered questions so far, but one thing's for sure, the comments aren't going anywhere. So definitely continue that. I love that, Kelly.
Right.
That's awesome. But yeah, I do want to hear what your guys' thoughts are on this. We will be recapping this with a blog with all the articles that have talked about this and and why they feel that this is a thing and the mental health component of it, as I mentioned, as well as, the getting people to focus back on the what they're sharing and the why they're sharing it versus just counting the likes. We'll recap this in a blog, but I would love to include several of your comments. Jackie just said in here, admins will still have analytics through Insight on Facebook. Reach measurements will still be provided. Yes, Jackie, as far as we've heard, that will still be a thing. So, and again, this is just talk right now on what's coming to Facebook. Nobody knows besides the people at Facebook what this is truly going to look like just yet. But if it Instagram gives any indication and how they're moving toward this, you as the admin will still be able to see the likes yourself, but your fans on the page and the people that have joined your page, they will not see it. So you as the admin would still be able to see. So that's definitely helpful to know, okay, what content is performing and resonating. However, what they're saying, the implication would be for this going away overall is that studies have shown when you can see likes and things that have received more likes, that more people like it. So the implication for a brand in this aspect would be, if my likes aren't displaying and it was something that was previously getting a ton of likes, it potentially will not be getting as many likes because people can't see it, and it's not giving that trigger in someone's mind to say, oh, 10 of my friends just like this post in the last 5 minutes. I want to like it because they've liked it. I don't know what this looks like as well when, if you see some of the friends that you're connected with and you know how things show up in your news feed because they've engaged with that, if likes are going to bring that over into that news feed, or if it's only if they're commenting on it. Those are some of the questions of, that we're talking about here and saying, what is that implication of the like? So as Mike had mentioned, that share and that comment is definitely a way of moving it closer into the newsfeed since people aren't going back to that brand page. So focusing on the overall strategy to move it there and get that shift. So Tracy says, so if I like a video now, I should comment, like this video. Yeah, I like this video. That's definitely a way of commenting. I like this video and sharing your insight on it as well.
Yep.
Right now, it's still business as usual until this change takes place potentially, but they're starting it in 9 other countries right now, and the US is not on that top list, but it's just something worthy of a discussion now before any of those things would roll out.
And again, I think just to reiterate, what you said, stay in your lane. I think, and that craveable theme. So how are you doing something in the way that you're engaging so that it's deeper, it's authentic, it's real, and it's lasting. So that's what we're moving toward. And again, that's the relationship marketing highway that we're driving on.
Yeah, and Kelly, amen. I love her comment here. It says it'll probably just be a lot healthier and more accurate. Instead of it being a bandwagon psych reasons for people liking it, it will be real in the terms, of marketers and real, just real overall. Yes, real conversation, real, relationship building. I mean, if you think back to everything you've liked versus what you've commented, which one do you remember more? Which one had more of an impact on you, right? Like I sometimes will go through and engage with things just to kind of let somebody know that I've seen it, right? But things that have meant something to me, and as you said, real, I am taking the time to comment or to send a voice message to someone or to share it, those kinds of things. So I think that is the key here. That's going to be that real measurement of having a true social connection and relationship building. So amen. I really like your comment there. Absolutely. All right. Well, again, keep this conversation going. I would love to jump in the comments with you and hear your take and more questions that you have about it. As I said, we don't know all the answers, but just something we wanted to bring to light this week. I think next week's episode, without giving it away, I don't always give away, but what we're talking about next week on Training Tuesday Live, Tuesday at 4 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, we're going to be talking about creating your brand manifesto and what that means. And I think this will honestly help kind of pull this two together on the kinds of content that is being shared and the kinds of content that is being curated for really having this connection and impact. So we're going to be breaking down not only what it is, but how to create one for your brand so you can do it with us next week. So next week, we hope to see all of you back and join in with us for Magnet Marketers Training Tuesday Live. And that's Tuesday at 4 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Mike, any last finishing thoughts before we wrap it up?
Yeah, no, just that, again, this hasn't happened, but they're talking about it. And it's just a checkpoint to let you know about it, but then also to talk about what you need to be doing to go deeper, to have this not impact you. And next week ties in wonderfully. So looking forward to that.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, thank you so much for all of you joining in with us and all of
Thanks,
you that
folks.
are catching the replay. Hope you have an amazing rest of your week, and we will catch you in the comments. See ya.
Yeah, take care.